right where you're standing,
I don't think it would have been
saying
me.
that you didn't like the Doug duo.
No.
That's fraudulent.
Exactly.
I know for sure. This is the highlight of your week. Being part of the Doug duo, standing next to me wearing
That's
a suit
true.
costume.
Polish my noggin to come in, make
You're
sure
welcome.
I'm looking good.
Exactly. Put the blood cap back on.
Yep.
Yeah, we went over this a couple weeks ago. I'm glad you're back on board.
We did. I am on board. AEG and FlyQuest, they're on board too here, replaying yesterday's game. So it's going to be back-to-back games here for FlyQuest, I believe. They're playing next again.
Yeah.
EG as well, like Jet said. I mean, they're having a rough start to this split. 2-4, not what people are expecting coming out of lock-in. So they have got to try to turn it around. It's a very important game for them, but at the same time, FlyQuest can move up in the standings here. You know, they want to keep pace or even stay half a game ahead. I guess it would be over TL since they have played one less game, well, 2 less games currently.
Yeah. See what they can do out of this one as Aphelios locked in. Gwen, Tom, Kench, certainly FlyQuest have put a lot of eggs in the Kumo basket, and I think he's actually been really, really outstanding so far this split. I think he's really come into his own as an LCS caliber player. Not a rookie, we've seen him before, but it was always like pretty middling. I was like, yeah, I mean, he's there, but he's kind of like the 10th best top laner in the LCS. But I actually feel like Kumo has been a really big bright point for the squad.
Well, I think one of the biggest things for FlyQuest, and they've talked about it, a lot of people have talked about it, is just they seem to be better than the sum of their parts, right? I think it's less about, you know, exceptional individuals just smashing lane. Like when you watch TL, it's very easy to understand why they're winning. It's like, well, they win all their lanes, and then they're also good at the other stuff too. So turns out you win a lot of League of Legends, whereas FlyQuest just seems very, very cohesive. I think Tukoy has had incredible individual performances if you were to really point to one person. He has been great. One player of the week last week, a really big pickup for Fly, but they've just been very cohesive. They're often on the same page. The shot calling seems good. You know, their decision making seems really good, and that is just giving a lot of teams problems because if you're waiting around for FlyQuest to make mistakes and trying to capitalize on those, they're not going to make those mistakes. They're going to be proactive, find the fights that they need to win the game. Yeah,
if anything, they're the ones coming back. I know we were casting on week 2, and they were undefeated with their biggest gold lead being 704 gold across the entire season so far. Like, they are the ones coming back, making stuff happen. You can see, right, even the fans have come to realize that EG had all the hype. They had that 9-0 run during lock-in. They only lost to TL in the finals, and then, well, here we go. Fates have swapped entirely, and it's feeling pretty good. Johnson on the bot lane, going to have that Jhin. We are in the second phase of bans. Inspired, you know, honestly, expecting a bit more out of him overall, and on the Lee Sin, we'll hope he can make it happen.
Yeah, I think he was really good in lock-in, but hasn't been as dominant. You know, definitely not as dominant as they were expecting in the regular season. But that's really true of most of EG. I think JoJo as well has still been having some good laning, but has struggled, I think, with his teamfight positioning, has been getting caught out more than you would like, especially when you're going to play something like Corki, where you're investing all this time into the scaling, get to that stage. If you miss position one time, you get hooked. That can cost your team so much. It is interesting to see Vulcan back on the recon here. Definitely not one of the stronger laning champions, but a lot of people do like kind of just the ability to have, you know, multi-man CC, AoE CC against champions like Tahm Kench. If you can catch the Tahm Kench and the Jhin in your ultimate charm, things like that can make it very difficult for Afro to find those really high-quality devourers that he's going to be looking for.
And that's going to make it pretty helpful, because even if he does somehow manage to cast it in time, if you've then charmed him, like he devours, then you charm him, it's like, well, he's walking toward me with enhanced move speed, so can't wait to be delivered this present of an Aphelios, or in this case, a Jhin or a Corki or whatever it's going to be. So definitely some positive synergies there. Tahm Kench tends to be is an okay laner, but doesn't quite have the same kind of damage forcing. You know, Rakan can kind of always on reflex get away from the knockback, or at the very least go give his teammate 2 shields and a heal. So yeah, you tend to survive any of the aggressive plays, and your offensive one's actually not bad as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I generally think with Tahm Kench, if people are taking fights against you, that's where you really excel. You know, if he is in an early game scrap, it's very difficult to fight past Tahm Kench, for example. If you want to go for that Jhin and Tahm Kench gets on your AD, Tahm Kench will win that fight most of the time in the early stages. So that's something they're going to have to look out for. Victor coming through here for JoJo, so scaling matchups in the mid lane. I'm curious to see what the top lane pick will be, because this could be jungle Gwen. FlyQuest is leaving their last pick here to have the possibility of flexing things around. Graves would make sense as a pretty safe line. It feels like the go-to these days with so many people just rushing Hullbreaker on it. But it's going to be swapped to Akali, so pretty AP heavy then. You know, double solo laners, both AP there. and we'll find out, is FlyQuest now going to swap this around? Because Akali is something that a lot of people have actually been playing into Gwen. They seem to like that matchup. As long as you can play around the Shroud for the first activation of your E and hit that shuriken flip from inside the Shroud, then you can just jump right back on him.
Right,
and have some pretty effective trades.
And you're basically guaranteed if you're melee. We saw almost exact thing happen yesterday. The Gwen was flexed out at the last moment. Of course, could be Gwen top, Viego jungle, or vice versa.
Yeah.
We just saw Viego top from Whippo yesterday.
Didn't look good.
Yeah, valid. He was nerfed at a top lane for a reason, and the nerf's kind of stuck, as it turns out. But, the option is left up until 20 seconds on the timer, so we'll wait to see. I'm open-minded here, but I think this is probably the stronger look.
I think this is what it's going to be. I mean, not a lot of people are playing the Viego top. I mean, Whippo did fine individually in lane, but just team composition-wise, it seemed to actually struggle. I generally think that you want to have the Gwen in a side lane more than you want the Viego in a side lane anyway, and that usually suits your top laner who's going to be getting more gold, more experience. So I think this makes sense, and it is going to be the choice. Jose also pretty well known for his Viego. Everyone talks about closer, but Jose had a very good Viego last year as well. It is going to be his first play, though, of this split. Be interesting to see how he does. A lot of scaling in the mid lane. Top lane could be pretty spicy. And I think that's where we're going to have to look for a lot of this matchup, because bot lane feels more like farm lane. Mid lane feels more like a farm lane. So unless these junglers get super aggressive, I think we are kind of looking towards top.
That's one thing that we've noticed, actually. I know we had Revenge talking earlier about, I think yesterday, about how, top lane sometimes it's not really a top-focused metagame right now, so you can't always kind of set up for stuff. But at the same time, because top doesn't have to go to bot lane all the time and TP out and sacrifice their lane, because it's not a requirement of them, because so much focus is about the bottom lanes, the top laners are left alone a lot more. I think we've seen way more interesting, fight you one-on-one skill matchups, right? Both top laners not taking flash, for example. We've seen way more scrapping and more interesting top lane picks this season than any other. You could say it's not about top lane as much, and yet top laners are all taking these volatile fighters.
Yeah, I agree. And I do think the fact that neither of these guys have flash, as you pointed out, can draw the junglers up there, which kind of reinforces the point that it may be very much so about that top lane. Pretty standard runes, it feels like, across the board here. It is going to be Airy, which feels like the kind of the meta has evolved to that for almost all Victor players. It is a very strong laning rune. And on the other side, we have First Strike for Corki, which is pretty much always the go-to. It is also Scorch and Time Warp Tonic plus Biscuits for JoJo. So he is like full on for lane. This is one of the things that people criticize a lot of players for going for the early game runes. So we'll have to see if he can actually get a CS advantage, if he can create some sort of a lead. Because if you are just going to be farming it out, if you're not going to be playing and trading more aggressively, then of course, Gathering Storm and things like this can be a lot more valuable in later stages.
Nice little play by Impact. Of course, we occasionally see that early Trinket Ward actually pay dividends. And gets to land a Shuriken Flip and get about 150 damage done with an auto attack. So good early start. We'll see if it matters much for Impact overall. It is Doran's Ring potions for both. So, relatively low sustain on both sides. Obviously, Impact gets some health off of that every time he deals damage, since he has mana to restore. In the bot lane, it's the standard boot start for Jhin. Jose, there's the smite into the double Q. Getting that as much done as possible. In general, by the way, you do want to smite your blue up. There we go. Learning E at 1, it looked like, so smite E to kill the camp off. In general, when jungling, unless your leash was really, really strong, you want to smite your first camp, because it's going to do 450 no matter when you smite. So smite it when you have no other DPS on your kit, right? Level 1 Lee Sin, level 1 Viego don't have a lot of damage normally. So get level 2, get more DPS, smite the first camp.
Yep, definitely faster, especially if you are leashless. It's almost always the correct option there. Jose just clearing. It looks like he's going to be setting up for just a 6-game clear towards top. We'll see if Inspired wants to deviate at all from that. We're seeing a lot more of just like Raptors Red towards Scuttle for Lee Sins, but Inspired is a very farm-heavy player, and so far so good for JoJo in that mid lane, making use of some of this damage that he has been able to land. We're seeing a lot of poke over there on Takoi, but Takoi is playing D-Shield and Biscuits as well, so he's going to have plenty of sustain in his kit.
You see all the damage is blocked pretty reliably. Guardian, very, very strong rune, optimal in a lot of these relatively defensive champions. If you can kind of reliably put a shield on your homie, it's going to be a lot of survivability. You kind of can't kill the opposing AD carry. Got a pause going on real quick. Seen one of these before. Let's hope it's not anything too drastic, but we were seeing some pretty good initial harass out of Impact, but then he's, we'll have to see what's going on in this one.
Players are already saying ready in chat, so
okay.
I'm not sure if this was like an accidental pause or someone accidentally unplugged something and then replugged right back in, or what exactly happened. But I'm assuming we're going to be getting back into it here pretty quick because players from both teams did call ready in chat.
All right. Yeah, got no idea.
So far, you can see Jojo has created a pretty big CS advantage. I don't know exactly how big the wave is mid for Takoya to actually collect, but I do think there's kind of like multiple schools of thought, right? A lot of people are very much in the like scaling camp, early game runes are trash sort of style. But I do think that there can be a lot of value even if you are an extremely skilled player, because you can utilize that extra early game power to create a larger advantage, right? And I think that's somewhat overlooked in a lot of these discussions where it's like, well, if you're good, you don't need them. Yeah, but if you're really good, can't you just absolutely blast the person then and maybe make it worthwhile? So I do think it's not just like universally wrong by any means. Yeah. And you just have to play towards your strengths, right? If you're going all early game runes, you need to be trading aggressively. You need to be creating more of an advantage than if you're going Gathering Storm and Cull and Tier and just chilling and farming and going even, then is maybe your goal.
Right. I mean, keep in mind, this is pro play, right? Where people are picking, Renekton because he's a lane bully because they can set up dimes. People who are picking Rumble Jungle who falls off a cliff but has really good early priority. Like, early game has always meant kind of a lot in pro play. And even to the point about, Gathering Storm versus CS lead, keep in mind that items are always worth more than their gold cost. Like, they're intentionally tuned to be like more than just 5 blasting wands, right? Every item is better than 5 blasting wands, right? So, I can get Gathering Storm and get a blasting wand, or you can get 800 gold and like finish a Ludens, which is just better, right? Across all contexts.
And that's why it's interesting, right? And that's why you have to take the context of it and say, okay, well, did he create that gold lead, or would a Gathering Storm have been, more of an advantage?
Yeah.
Impact now, just getting that river ward, but there's lots of wards, up in this area. They are protecting Kumo pretty heavily, so they were expecting, some sort of pressure up here on the top side. You can see wards all around there.
He probably got spotted.
Inspired should have been spotted walking into the pit.
And a little bit of damage down on the bottom side. Danny going to be dangerously low in a 1v3. Doesn't have a way out, and first blood is claimed. Jose Dioto on the board. FlyQuest, 500 gold ahead.
They made that one look really easy. Danny just making the call that he is dead to rights here. Not going to blow any sums, accepts his death. On that top side, though, Kumo going to get pushed all the way back. So his base was very delayed. He will lose some minions to that tower. That was what we had to pan away from because of this kill happening on the bottom side. Jose spotted on a ward. Unfortunately for Jojo, though, this is going to be a base that is going to be canceled because he is chilling on a ward. He won't get killed or anything, but he had the push, so he wanted to reset immediately there, which would have saved him his TP. Unfortunately, Jose shows up, and he's going to try to help Takoya just reset this wave, be able to get this shoved in, get a base off himself, and so far, not really any advantage gained with these early game runes.
Yeah, it washes right back out. There is a wave he's collecting, so it is going to be like +5 CS, assuming he gets all this right here. So Kui's up a little bit, but yeah, that's on average 100 gold. So far, right, assuming that everything is attributed to runes, right? Yep. Then the rune choices have earned him 100 gold. We'll see if that's worthwhile as we see that fight right here. Danny getting knocked up. Yeah, well played.
Yeah, I think it's Danny's read, and he tries to actually step forward because he knew he couldn't actually walk back out of it. He would have had to early flash. I think his read was, I go red gun, I press Q for move speed, I step forward to dodge this, and then I can walk out. Unfortunately for him, as soon as he gets hit, he knows he is dead. So they're not going to blow any sums. They just hold on to that, and Jojo back to lane. Both mid laners have TP'd, and he's just going to pop the ulti immediately, try to chunk him out. Yeah, because he did just have the one potion, plus he's got a biscuit in pocket. So if he can land a couple more lasers, he could start to actually push Takoya back potentially here.
Decent damage out of Impact now as well. Top lane back to equal in CS, but a gank is coming. Try for the 1v1. Can he kill Kumo? Ult comes across. Ignite claims it, but Viego is in for a bit more. Cannot avenge his dead wife. Jose Dioto left empty-handed in the bottom side of 2-on-2. Does get the kill. Impact actually falls. Level 6 off a camp, maybe, I'm not sure, but Afro gonna be in danger, puts on the shield, flashes away from the skill shots. Can they find round 2? Should be happening. Goes for the knockup. Can they kill Jojo? Nearly, but Johnson's going down. Afro going to follow, and it's 3-2 to Evil Geniuses.
Clean dive on that bottom side, and Impact gets the solo kill up on that top side, so things going really well there for EG. Jose was able to trade one back, and that's something good for them because the Viego is getting very, very strong, but still, overall, EG going to be really happy about that one. I think that was the last tick of Ignite that actually did kill off Kumo. Impact had it completely timed out there. That last second R2, the final tick of Ignite gets him the kill, and he did get out for at least a bit.
Yeah, I think it was a flash follow from Viego. I'd have to watch it. I assume we will get a replay at some point. Obviously, a good chase down, so let's watch it again. Level 6 goes right in.
Exactly. He gets level 6. He's going forward right as he's about to get it. The Ignite is up. The tick of Ignite does take him down. Impact looks like he gets out. Impact may have greeted for this wave because there's a lot of farm there. Maybe trying to wait out for the Shroud.
Yep.
We'll see, yeah.
Flash stun.
Yep, nicely played there. I mean, Impact just needed to base, but it's one of those things where if you think that you can react to him with your Shroud, then you can get a lot of value by staying around because, I mean, if you can actually, dodge that, that's a lot of experience and gold that you could potentially pick up. Either way, gets punished. The aggro juggling here was really, really nice from EG. I like this attempt, but Johnson just misplaced the W there, actually missed. If he hit that root, they would have got a kill, but now mid lane, Jose may go down.
A one hit, not quite down, not a single Ruby Crystal. No boots even, but yeah, they couldn't get the last bit of damage on him, so staying alive here. Still a close game, 500 gold apart. Inspired is in, wants the big play. Ward hop into a kick, into a waiting stun and a knockup. Everything answered perfectly. Inspired finds his second kill.
Really nice kick there. And right into the waiting arms of Vulcan and JoJo. Lots of CC to ensure Takoi was going to be going down there. The wraparound play is really nice. And because Jose now is missing his mid laner, they're just going to invade into topside. They're going to take away the camps. They get the red buff here. They can grab Krugs very likely as well if they want. And even forcing Kumo back to base because he knows there was a potential that he could get dove. So creating advantages there. This is really how Inspired, I think, kind of made his name in the LEC, playing aggressively, taking camps away from the other players, and creating farm advantages through doing that.
Oh, Danny's like, there's a Viego somewhere near me. I'm going to walk away from this one. Blast plants out. Obviously, the ward wouldn't cover through camouflage, so just get some of his bot wave. A little damage from Johnson. Gonna go for the big ult flash into the damage output. Wow! Danny solo kills Johnson. Get off my damn turret.
That's a man who knows his champion, knows the limits there. Johnson thought he was completely safe pushing up, but Danny knows he has his summoners because he saved them on his death to look for a play later. That was the play. Vulcan should be able to W over the wall. Should be okay here, but just so nicely done there by Danny. He makes it look easy, but that is just complete understanding of your limits, knowing exactly how much damage you can put out in that situation, having the flash timer on Johnson, and getting the big punish.
Impact still feeling really good about this one, forcing Kumo to dash defensively. You get the cooldown back when you land an auto attack, so it's going to be a long cooldown on that dash for Kumo for now. And that's just Impact playing it really nicely. Gets another pretty good trade. E comes in as well. Almost goes for the whole kill. Saving onto the ultimate, saving onto Ignite. And Kumo knows he would die next time that happens. Exactly.
Kumo's basically just going to have to go back to base because now you actually don't have your Shroud. You know he has ult and Ignite, so that would mean you would get dove there pretty easily. So Impact going to push him back. And let's watch this one more time. I mean, they're same level. They were very similar items here. But Danny just stacking up the chakrams, R flash right on top, closes the gap. Yes, the root comes through, but perfectly orb walking forward there. Very, very nice stuff. Closing the gap and just making sure he's straight on top of maximum DPS with those chakrams. Just really, really well played by Danny. Aggressive stuff, and that's kind of what we've come to know from him. Like, he is one of the guys that sees these angles and sees these opportunities on these plays that are just so aggressive.
Look at the distance he's playing back, by the way. Gale Force done. The man's barely... We had to zoom out to show Johnson in this one.
I'm sorry, Danny, please.
Like, this is the Jhin ultimate view, by the way. Like, this is what you get when you press Jhin R. That's the range he's playing at. He's an ult bot.
That's where you have to play. Got to play safe. Standing back now. He's showing some respect in this case. He knows he's still down his flash, so he would be vulnerable. And yeah, Danny doesn't have his flash, but oh my God, he's Guild Warsing in.
3 almost finds the kill, has reinforcements, and he's going to almost find the knockup for a bit more. Walks in 1v3. Burns a summoner heal. Okay, that hurts a bit, but that man runs this lane.
I mean, he almost killed Afro there. That would have been a disaster if he got another solo kill there. They're going to drop the Herald, though. Package TP is coming through, but it's back to mid lane, so they won't be trying to defend this bot lane turret with the Corki TP. He's just going to be picking up that farm. Not quite enough damage to knock this down now, but battle in mid lane.
Nice job, gets over the stun. Cannot find the rest of the kill, though. Obviously, with the Hex Drinker, he's pretty tanky. And nice job to get away from the stun, but still, Package does not mean the kill. Jojopion walks away with his summoner still up.
And Takoi, he's going to do you one better. He's got a full Maw, so he just straight up rushed the Maw there. Hex Drinker, we have been seeing a lot of people doing that, especially if they're going, for coal tier and really greedy builds. They make that pit stop. But he just went for the straight up Maw, and Maw is really strong. ever since they added in, the Omnivamp on the Lifeline trigger, I think that is really, really nice. The scaling on the magic damage shield is really nice. And it's Akali plus Victor. So I think it actually makes quite a bit of sense in this game. I think it is defensible. Yeah, his kind of 2-item spike that you're looking for with the Luden's Vermana is pushed quite a bit back, but he's going to be very, very safe.
Yeah.
No matter which soul laner is matching.
I mean, it's kind of nice because, this was the sort of build where before the buffs, you kind of just had to go shield bow in these games where otherwise I get one shot by Akali, so I've got to go for the auto attack build because it gives me a tanky mythic.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, actually, I can just do caster build plus a Maw, and we're good, right? So, it does really line up pretty well. Obviously, that item is quite nice on any marksman. It suits, all these kind of ranged auto attacker builds really well, even ranged cast as well. Like a Jace could be happy doing this on top of that one. Top turret down pretty low, cannot go for the turret plate just yet. Impact still trying for poke, but level 10 to level 9, 2/3 in the health bar on Kumo.
And when you have two champions that are just going the exact same build, getting a gold lead is a really big deal, right? They're both working toward that mythic. Impact is going to have it much sooner. Kumo actually has had some pretty unideal bases. So last time he went back to base, he couldn't afford the blasting wand, so he just grabbed the null magic mantle and was like, okay, well, I'll try to survive. So he is getting bullied here pretty hard, and they're having to support him.
Gonna be rooted. Ease in wants the kill, but he's stuck out of range of the ultimate. Can't get much more done. Staying invisible. There's the reinforcements and finds the first kill. They find a second. Impact says top die, bot die. Everyone get out of my lane. 3 for nothing. Evil Genius is winning top. They win in bot. They're winning this game.
EG are looking like they're back to lock in form here. FlyQuest up at the top of the table for now, but EG are crushing him. 14 minutes in, 5K gold lead, 8-2. Impact playing that out very, very well. Inspired and him have been having a great game. Everything has been going their way, and it's just going to get harder and harder here for Kumo, who's even further behind now in this 1v1. FlyQuest are trying to bail him out of these situations, but EG just reinforce and punish.
Decent damage, kicks him into the Rakan. Thankfully, Aftermoo is here for some defense. Can they chase it down? Not quite. Forcing a flash. Impact is around, but out of major cooldown, so gonna walk right back out. Jose Diodo lives. Of course, flash is down. Still a good fight from EG. 5,000 gold lead holds.
Yeah, you end up trading that TP out for a flash off Jose, so not bad whatsoever, especially because Dragon is up. So Inspired, could try to grab that if he wants. Still has been that first Cloud Dragon the whole time, but EG has not really been interested, and FlyQuest has been unable. It is interesting to actually see that EG has just not decided to go for this. And I think at some point they will start adding that in as an additional win condition here. You can see Inspired just queued into the pit. So they are going to finally start stacking these up. But 15 minutes first Dragon means Soul is a long, long way off.
No, if you get it as soon as possible, you're looking at, just over 30 minutes, 30 and change if you're doing it on cooldown every single time. 15 minutes from right now if you were to insta-give it.
Yeah.
So that's the pacing we're on. That said, I'm expecting, honestly, watching EG, expecting, okay, a Baron take at 24 and change and, going for inhibitors at, sub 30. So likely if they keep control, we're going to have a lot more done before Soul becomes a play. But you're right, that's, not an easy fallback pattern yet, right? You can't be like, oh, actually, we're going to stack dragons, see you at 25. That's not the play just yet.
No, not at all. But it's always nice, especially when you're playing from ahead. Just grab the dragons. It gives you this additional win condition if things are slowing down or if their wave clear is too good or you make a mistake. You can fall back onto this pattern. And it's also another way to force your opponents to actually come and fight you. So it can be very useful, but they're going to push up top. Plates are down. Going to be able to grab another tower here. You can see they're moving the lanes around. Danny is farming up mid, going to be pushing that in. While Jojo will take the solo turret gold on that top side. Had Vulcan covering him, so was pretty safe. Inspired also up there, grabbing the Herald. And you can see EG are just kind of extending their vision forward, right? And they do a very good job of this, creating this whole pocket of safety for Jojo to push up on that top side. And that's really what does allow you to do that. And this is one of the things where sometimes if you're watching a pro game and you're wondering, why is this guy who has a lead in the 1v1 not pushing? It's almost always because they don't have eyes on where the rest of the team is. And they have to play with respect to the rotations that these pro players are going to make so consistently. But EG doing a great job here, establishing forward vision, making sure that it's safe to push.
Good sidestep. Jojo holds the flash, does sidestep the stun. Well done there. Jose Diodo, sadly, never find the way in. So we sit there at 8-2. 2 kills, all that keeps FlyQuest away from being perfect gamed at this point in time. First Herald, second Herald, the Dragon kills, towers, all that has gone EG's way so far.
Yeah, and Jose got those 2 early kills. Even had the first blood, but hasn't really been able to turn it into anything more because the lanes have kind of been struggling. You know, Danny gets a solo kill on Johnson, Impact gets a solo kill on Kumo. Corky, you know, is just kind of farming it out there against JoJo. So, you know, things not looking like they're going their way. The last of the tier 1s have now fallen, making a 6,000 gold lead here. We're going to have to see how EG does extending the gold lead from here, though, as Decoy has package.
Yep, packages to get a slow. He's going to be out of range, cannot follow Q2. No kick flash available from that, so he lives. But that's the kind of thing you're seeing. Package picked up to play for nothing. I'm surprised he didn't kind of wait until it was playable for Dragon or something. Kind of picks it up for no big play. Out goes EG. Damage on a Vulcan. He's got a teammate to survive. It's the big thing, right? Always play with teammates. You mentioned, you know, top lane split push. It's so important you have wards from your squad. Vulcan going up there, right? And Danny following. That's part of the way that gets to happen. As you can see, that's an actual Sightstone ward in both of those two spots. That's Vulcan warding for the homies. That's very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you have to have the support to be able to do that. And that's about getting the pushing waves, forcing your enemies to actually respond to the waves. So you get eyes on them. You know that you're going to be, you know, at worst in a 1v1 in those kind of situations. Track numbers, push in, get vision, and then try to defend it, right? And that's kind of the multi-step process that these teams are going through to extend advantages, because you don't just have to take towers or get kills to extend the lead. You can start taking away the enemy jungle camps and really kind of slowly grinding them out in that way. Because it is very early in the game, and it's tough to actually push tier 2s when it's this early on.
And a Gale Force to safety. Johnson knows he is in Flash W range, and you can sometimes Gale Force that on Reflex, but in this case, just 90-second cooldown, not a big deal, whatever. Let me just get out of that one, and he will stay alive. No dive onto him, but the gold lead grows to 6,000 in mid lane tier 2, soon to die.
Yeah, it's very, very low here. You know, Vulcan kind of threatening the flank on the side here. Inspired pushing in with Danny, so Danny is very, very safe. And they are going to be able to, on this next wave, I think, just straight up walk it up, take down that tower, because you can see Decoy on top side. They saw Kumo on bot side, so they know there's no response coming to this. And FlyQuest just losing more and more, and now it is that takeover of that topside jungle that I was talking about. When you can play 3 quadrants of the map, farm all of these jungle camps, it's just going to put the only strong member, really, who is kind of Jose, who has those 2 kills, down further and further.
And it just keeps getting worse. Well, Dragon number 2 coming up in 40 seconds. You expect EG to grab that one as a formality, likely to be uncontested. I feel like if you're FlyQuest, ooh, nope, not going to see him in time. If Sweeper was on, he could have gone for a sweep, or a stun, but that was still on cooldown, so couldn't have gone for that play. Sad miss on the cannon. But and actually, I don't even know if he saw JoJo finish recall, so he might not know that top is really empty, but this top lane could have been fought pretty heavily. And honestly, with Dragon coming up, I feel like I wanted to see FlyQuest play the side a little bit more, knowing cross-up's going to happen, right? Knowing that you expect EG to recall, do a Dragon setup, overload top side, cash in a bounty, even just have a Baron, like some Baron control, because that's eventually going to be on the table. I feel like a very small opportunity was dropped here by FlyQuest.
It is interesting, though, because even though that's the expected play from EG actually sent 4 top to defend that, right? So they were actually thinking that FlyQuest was going to do the play that you're talking about, right? Straight from base, it was recalls, 3 members running top, Inspired, who was covering mid, and runs straight to top as well. So in this situation, I think FlyQuest would have actually been punished for that play, but you know, that's the kind of read you have to make. You know, is this dangerous or is it not? And I think a lot of teams would have gone for the play that you're talking about, because normally you would expect them to be at Dragon Lance.
Yep, and this was why we've been seeing more and more blue trinkets. I think it's very, very important. I think optimal like late game trinket scenarios is 3-2. Only blue and red trinkets, right? And it's either I got to get rid of wards because we're kind of ahead and I want to just make sure we can get stuff done, or plays like that where we need to go for top tier 2. Who's coming? Blue trinket, blue buff, blue trinket the lane. Oh, just Victor? All right, right? But like, you know, knowing who's coming and when, because that's the only way you get deep vision. If you're behind, you've got to cross map them. So am I getting ambushed? Blue trinket, cool, right? And I think that's how you play that mid game macro and how you play for bounties from behind, because you're behind, right? You're not allowed to get the deep wards. You can't track all the movements. Yeah. So find a way around that, and blue trinket's the way.
Yeah, blue trinket definitely does have value. You know, it can be tricky too because you don't have as many long-lasting wards then, and it's kind of all on your support. You know, you can do pinks as well, but once this item slot starts to fill up, it gets tough. But I agree. I mean, it's one of the sacrifices you have to make. As Inspired will be pushed back here. Kumo just trying to collect as many waves as he can on bot side, trying to get some of these waves moving in the right direction. But you can see him, you know, on the minimap. Kumo's just hugging the wall. He doesn't know where people are. He doesn't know if he's actually safe. And just now, as they're seeing more players, is he able to actually walk up, try to push this in, try to force a response, and Impact will be heading down to actually collect this up.
Ooh, they're on wards, though. Is this going to be a possibility? Aftermove sadly on a ward himself. Control wards, goes for the jump. Nope, sorry, Vulcan. He saw the controller come down, says, I'm in danger, takes that quick mental note, and gets off the bus. He's going to be just fine. Now, Kumo versus Impact in the bottom side. I believe the first of the ulti did not land, but now got to try for round 2 after an auto attack, but he just wants to run away. Jumps over the wall, sidesteps the Shuriken, but now Inspired's in for a bit more. Finally realizes where Kumo is gone. Can they find the way across, stick into the wall? Is going to make everything land. There should not be an easy way out. Kumo tries to heal, and he will go down. Kill number 9 on the board for Evil Geniuses.
Nicely done. No ability to actually make that play on the other side either. FlyQuest can't start up the Baron. They're way too far behind. So they get the kill. Impact even holds on to the Akali ult. If there was a cross-map play, yes, Inspired spent his ultimate, but Impact would be ready to go with the TP and Ignite. He would be the one that could make that cross-map response. So, I think correct CD usage in that case. Spend the junglers who wouldn't be able to TP. And EG just slowly but surely moving the game forward here, choking FlyQuest out. They are putting the pressure on FlyQuest to make a response here, and FlyQuest so far have not been able to get anything going, have not been able to do anything except just maintain this one quadrant of the map in vision, right? It's been this constant play for this section right here, and they're spending all their wards, all their resources to cover this side of the map because that is all they can maintain. They know if we lose Baron, we lose the game. So that's their focus up here, but it means Kumo's never going to have meaningful pressure or safety on the bottom side. He just doesn't have the vision coverage to actually do it. They don't have any ability to challenge at Dragons either because they have no wards over there. So it's really just kind of just trying to minimize loss here for FlyQuest, but they need to find some sort of a proactive play or EG are absolutely going to run away with it because the gold lead has steadily increased the whole time. And
the problem is the tools for starting to be proactive are pretty dull, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Like Tom Kench W is like 1100 range, and it's dodgeable because it's pretty well telegraphed. Like, you've got Corki and Jin poke, but poke only matters when you're ahead. Otherwise, the Bloodthirster Aphelios says, that's cute, and autos a Krug camp twice, right? Impact's winning his side against Kuma. I realized that was supposed to be a little bit volatile, but you blinded Gwen. Akali was the counter, and you're like, yes, indeed, we're going to keep Gwen top lane. We'll play into the counter matchup, and Inspire's the stronger early game jungle. I guess we're losing the lane then, right?
Yeah.
And so everything is just kind of going poorly. No lane is from ahead. Even Corki's probably supposed to win his lane against Victor. Well, JoJo won the lane. Some of that's rune, some of that's player skill probably. So there is no avenue to play through. Sadly, the 2-0 Aphelios, or the 2-0 Viego, doesn't have anywhere to go to. And it's just bleeding out because they can't start fights, they can't split push, they can't team fight.
And this is one of those cases where I think then you have to just accept you can't do everything and try to do one thing really, really well, right? And that's where I'd almost rather them move down towards bot side and just try to shadow Kumo, have someone behind him, see if you can pick a fight, find a 2v1, get a kill. Is that risky? Yes, of course, because there's the counterplay of the Baron on the other side of the map. But they are doing nothing well right now because they're kind of outmatched at every turn, as you were really pointing out. So I think that's where you have to accept we do not have the tools to do everything well. We will over-index in one area. We will try to find a pick. We will try to find some sort of advantage and hope that buys you time to shore up weaknesses elsewhere. Because, if you keep going and you try to just evenly match numbers everywhere, well, every part of EG is stronger than the parts that you have. So you just can't really do that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, even looking at itemization now as well, they're also picking these wait, if we survive till 35 minutes, it's gonna be okay. Zhonya's Hourglass is, generally a pretty weak second item. What does 1.5 offensive items Gwen do? She doesn't kill anyone. I can immune for 2 seconds and then die when I come out. What are you accomplishing out of that item? Similar like the LDR on Jin, you aren't actually against any hard tanks. You're like, well, but once we get to 3 items, and they do have an item, right? Lee Sin went Force of Nature, right? He's like, well, but once they buy armor, I'll append that, don't worry. But it's cool, we're really power troughed here. We're already behind. We're even farther behind. We can't team fight for Baron or anything because all of our items suck right now, and they're not even spiking on 2, so this is FlyQuest really hoping the game goes super late.
Yeah, and that seems to be their call, right? Is we're scaling, right? And that's going to be their call, whether or not it works out. I tend to think it rarely does in these cases because EG has done a pretty good job pushing the game forward. But they have won games like this, like when they're playing the Smite top type games, where they're massively behind, and they just say, nope, we're just going to wait. We're going to build these late game builds. We're going to find that one team fight that changes the game, and we'll see if they can actually do it. But I tend to agree with you. When you are behind, you don't get the luxury of building defensive. You need to go for glass cannon builds and hope that you can get a kill.
And right now they're going to see it's a retreat. It is a 3-on-3 on this side of the map. They find a little bit of damage, but it doesn't matter. Inspired can face check whatever he wants. It's going to force Tukui to run away. And now we look at the attempt at Baron. Dragon 3 was claimed. We are on pace for a 31-minute Dragon Soul if possible. And here we go. Baron being attacked. Yes, it's on vision, but is it going to matter? Ozodioto, can he get a smite steal? We saw one earlier. from TSM. It didn't turn into a win, but it was a good steal. So the teleport's now coming in as well. And it turns out the 2-item builds are going to matter. It's make or break right now. Baron could end the game.
Package TP.
Package available, and it will be EG flinching. Okay, they force the TP, package down. They will wait it out.
I mean, they got double TP. I think that's super worth for them. They started up, and they walked Impact there. They walked JoJo there. They didn't spend anything. So now all you do as EG, you actually send Impact back to bot side. You wait till someone responds, then you can set up a TP cross-map play and start Baron again in the 5v4. And they've just got to kind of rinse and repeat this one more time with FlyQuest not having those resources. Sure, Takoya actually is able to pick up the tower, get the objective bounty for himself, so that is nice. But EG still get a lot more out of this because Impact should be unopposed in bot lane.
A little bit of something picked up, but yeah, the TP difference is going to be a very big deal. Package only lasts 1 minute. That's timing out right about now. And yeah, we're going to see the last 15 seconds. All right, he can get to the wave, he can clear away with it, but he's not going to be there for a team fight. And so we'll see what round 2 looks like. For now, though, it is Akali being sent bot side. EG, crossing T's, dotting I's. Yes, indeed, going to play for that. There's the package for the wave. Sure, no problem. But now, okay, the question is, in the long form, do you lose bot inhib turret? Or do you lose a 5v4 at Baron? Because at a certain point, that's going to be the required answer here, as long as EG actually pressure through bot with impact.
Yeah, and I think they definitely will. You know, EG, because they have been stacking these dragons, also have the option, if they're not comfortable to actually start up the Baron, they can go for that soul here, you know, in just 2.5 minutes. But I do think we're going to see Impact start to push here, start to pressure. You know, he's not going to be able to take the tower in Gwen's face. So I do tend to think it's more about setting up the cross-map play and threatening that TP turn. Do they have any deep wards for him to TP on? I don't see any actually on the minimap. So they have denied a lot of that vision throughout their own jungle, which makes it more difficult for Impact to find a good angle on the TP. But still, there's always the threat of being able to start that up. Takoya is going to make this a little bit more difficult as he has his 3 items now. He has that Ludens, and he is 16.
Shirelia's pop, look for the play. Flash forced early off of Aftermoo. He was going to die otherwise. A flash forward for Danny, finds a bit. Not going to get the kill just yet, still wants to go upwards, gets away. Rocket's not going to land. That means that is map control in the bottom side. Yes, they've already walked Impact over, and now back to the bot lane again. So once again, bottom inhibitor turret versus the Baron play. Danny knocks out some of the vision. He could blast plant, doesn't take it. They will go for the red buff steal. They're going to go ahead and take the rest of the gold. They're playing it slowly. They're taking Vulcan's recall. And looks like they were happy with just that. They got a flash or two. They got a red buff. They got a partial jungle quadrant. And maybe now it's just a retreat and a play for Dragon Soul.
Yeah, I think it is the play for Soul now. You see Vulcan goes back to base, grabs a couple pink wards. They have 4 in inventory currently. Impact just continuously taking away these jungle camps now too. Just bleeding out FlyQuest slowly but surely. They're going to be able to grab the scuttle. Jose's trying to set up vision on the other side, maybe look for some sort of a pick. I think this is worth a try. You know, even if it is a bit of a risky play, look for that, see if you can get someone down.
All right, Jose and Vulcan get a quick scrap, but again, Jose doesn't want to stay with this fight because he's going to be in a 1v3 shortly. Has reinforcements. Here comes the teleport flank. This is the play they wanted. Gwen has to recall and walk. Can they make one happen? Blast point over the wall. They saved that from before, and now it is time for the team fight. 4v3, a kick around towards Impact. Good damage, but not going to find that kill just yet. Opening up his gym, but JoJo's already got 1. He's got 2, and that is going to be FlyQuest pushed right out of their side of the map.
Nicely done by EG. They had the patience to find the play there. TP advantage was still there for only about 30 or 40 more seconds, but they had the deep ward. They catch FlyQuest over, pushing on that top side. They punish with the TP flank, and now they're on the Baron here. It's up to Jose, who does have flash, who does have ulti. Impact's trying to zone, but I mean, this is not a threatening Akali here with very low health and no ultimate. And Kumo's in the pit now. He's trying to force their hand here.
Has to jump right back out, though. Able to get his E back. Impact is 1 hit from dead. He misses the W. Johnson nearly finds the solo kill. Jose Ditto inside the pit. Camouflage, but they are in range of him. This man will die. And that means Baron's going to be a formality. Dragons next up on the board. A nice attempt by Johnson, but only 1 tower on the board. 12-2. Evil geniuses are crushing.
Almost 10K ahead now. They're going to grab the soul as well. FlyQuest tried to force the Baron there over the side. EG was delaying. They tried to send someone in, which I think is kind of clever in this situation because EG were just going to hold the Baron at low health. So they send Kumo in the pit. They try to get it low enough, but he's forced out. Jose goes in, but he can't finish it off now. Looking for Danny, but we'll see if they can actually catch him. It's double TP committed.
Impact in for some more as well. Nearly gets the first kill. Gonna chase in. And that's Tsukui dying right as well. Now the next one gonna happen again. A kill on the board. Jojipyeon finds the third in as many minutes. And now Kumo on the way out needs the blast plant. Not gonna happen. 2 more. A double kill again for the EG mid laner. 15-2 on the board. And it's lights out for FlyQuest.
They're pushing mid. They got everything they need. Trying to find a pick on the other side, but Danny's going aggressive. He's turning it around.
Johnson gets charmed. Not quite knocked up. The ulti's gonna land. And Danny finds another kill in the exact same way. Ult's gonna land. Down goes Jin, and it's curtains for FlyQuest. Their second loss to be found right now. EG with a 2-4 start. It was a rough one, but they've come to play here. Their first actual game of Super Week. They will play again later today. Looking for that winning record in the first round robin. Couple of antics on the fountain. Only 2 kills given up. The Nexus falls, and EG wins.
Super important win for EG. Very, very clean stuff from them. Winning the lanes, playing the map really, really well. Great individual performances from multiple people here. Impact and Danny both finding solo kills. Inspired having a nice aggressive game. It was very measured, very controlled. Stacking Dragon, setting up with the TP plays around the Baron to really seal the deal. You know, it wasn't super, super fast, but they didn't need to be. It was measured, it was controlled. It never really felt like their lead was in danger, and they're farming away enemy jungle camp, so they didn't need to really flip a Baron or do anything crazy. It's a really strong showing from EG, and such an important win after what was a rough start. You know, if they can win, the rest of their week,